Hello friends, and welcome. My name is Andrew Olensky, and I'd like to invite you to join me and many others in participating in a program I've developed called the Integrated Dharma Program. The idea behind this program is that there's really three ways to come at understanding and investigating the Buddha's teachings. One of these is textual. That is to say that we look very closely at the actual words attributed to the Buddha in the earliest strand of literature, the Pali Canon. We want to look exactly what did the historical Buddha say, and how can we best understand what he's teaching us. As you know, the teachings have been through many different traditions over centuries. The Dharma is expressed through many voices of so many different teachers. All of that is tremendously valuable in its own right. But at a certain point, practitioners and students both of Buddhism and of meditation find themselves more and more intrigued with what is it that the historical Buddha said? What is the earliest strata of all these teachings? How close can we get to what was actually expressed by the Buddha to his immediate followers? Well, this course represents about as close as we can get to that, namely by looking at the texts themselves. Each unit of this program involves a small section of the Pali texts that have been extracted from their context and arranged in a way that are best understood by us. And we look very closely at word by word, phrase by phrase, what's being said here. My background is as a scholar of the early Buddhist tradition. As such, I work with the original languages, Pali and Sanskrit, that these texts are found in. And so my role is to help bring some of that knowledge of the language and the historical period of the Buddha to bear in helping you understand what's being said in these texts and how to construe their meaning. That's one part of it, a really close look at the original words. The second part of the program has to do with meditation. I've always been interested in engaging with the Buddha's teachings. Really, most of what he's describing in all of his teachings are the dynamics of inner experience. He's really mapping out and showing us how we work inside. And for us to participate in that journey of investigation and discovery of who we are and how we operate, we really need to look directly at our own experience. Meditation is a way of empirical observation of what is unfolding moment by moment by moment within your own stream of consciousness, within your own stream of awareness. The teachings are not pointing outward at the way the world is and understanding it in some special way. The teachings are pointed inward, how to understand ourselves, how to understand how we are creating our reality moment by moment, how we are engaging the objects of experience moment after moment. And we learn more and less skillful ways in which we can encounter experience and work with it. So integrating study and practice has been my main concern through most of my life, of using the teachings to guide one's meditative experience and inquiries, but also using the meditation experience itself to help understand and make sense of what the teachings are pointing at. So these two components, the study of the original material and then the actual practice with it in one's own lived experience. The third component of the program has to do with bringing it home to our own lives, our own times, our own world, our own personalities and psyche. In other words, we want to understand these teachings not as some sort of relic of ancient intellectual history. We want to understand them as a kind of lived experience. How is it that what the Buddha is telling us about human nature and how it works, what he's telling us about how we get into difficulties and cause suffering for ourselves and others, and how we can extricate ourselves from that, how those teachings are to be understood here and now, in our own life, in our own world. And so at all times, we're investigating these teachings both in terms of literature and in terms of meditation experience, and also bringing a strong component of common sense, of empirical observation, of inference of what these teachings mean and how they can be applied to our own lives and to the world around us. Now, the program itself is organized into three components. The first focuses on Sila, or the sort of ethical teachings of the Buddha, called the living with integrity. The second part focuses on Samadhi, which is developing the mind, or various forms of meditation and concentration. And the third component, the third course, called Deepening Wisdom, really delves into those core Buddhist ideas of what is it to understand the nature of things as they actually are. Understanding things like impermanence and non-self and interdependence and so forth. Now, this program was originally developed to unfold gradually, month by month, week by week, over a full year's period. What I've done now is made the entire course available in real time. So if you can sign up for one of these 16-week courses, or all three of them for a total of 48 weeks. And you can engage with this material slowly. In fact, I would really encourage it, where you take one of these units each week, which consists of 2 texts and a lot of explanatory material, which I'll get to in a moment. To take one of these texts and really sit with it for a week and reflect upon it and see how it fits into your experience, how it informs the world around you and so forth. And then move on to the next one slowly. But I've realized over the years that that format, valuable though it is not for everyone. And some people would really like to be able to move through the material at their own pace, according to various circumstances. You know, you might be on vacation for a week and not be able to do it, so, or you might have a particular interest in one text rather than another. I want to give you the freedom to explore this material as you like. It's still recommended, and I'll set up a schedule for how you can do it 1 week at a time. But in this new version of the Integrated Dharma program, I'm making all these files available to you as soon as you register. So you can register for 1 course or 2 or all 3 of them. Now, each unit of this course, and again there are 16 per course, or 48 altogether, each unit consists of 2 texts that have been carefully selected for a particular theme. And I've generally reorganized and retranslated these texts so that they're more accessible. I've compressed some of the repetition. I've taken out some of the grammatical effects that slow down the meaning rather than inform them. And I've, wherever possible, translated the language into gender universal forms. So it's accessible, more accessible to the modern world. And so each text we're going to look at very closely. And so you'll get a PDF printable format of the text. It's usually about a page long in a column, maybe sometimes 2. And then this will also be presented with the Pali original, the Pali language, in a column side by side. So those of you who are interested in the language or in the technical vocabulary of Buddhism, which many of you learn over time, you can really see side by side what's being translated by what words. And then I also give a commentary, first on the English text, you know, putting it into context, bringing out some of its key ideas and so forth. Then I do a commentary on the Pali, why things are translated the way they are, well, drilling down into certain key words, why they mean what they do, bringing out some grammatical and linguistic nuances where it's helpful to the meaning. And then there are 2 other parts. One is called investigation, where I really write a few paragraphs on each text to suggest ways that we might explore what's being said in our own experience, looking at it as a way of investigating what's being said. And then also a section, a few paragraphs, where I offer practice guidelines, practice suggestions. In other words, how can we take what this particular text is saying and put it into practice in our own lives? How can we cultivate some of the things that were being suggested, and so forth? So these are the components of every single text, and there's 2 per unit and 16 units per week, and then 3 courses altogether. So altogether the program consists of 96 different texts, all of which have the English, the Pali, commentary on both, investigation in one's own experience, and how to practice with it in a practical way day to day. In addition to this, I also then read all this material into audio files so that you can listen to the English and the Pali. You can listen to a lot of Pali in this course, and the guidelines and interpretations and so forth. So some people prefer to listen to this material while they're driving, for example, rather than reading it. Some people prefer to listen to it while they're reading it. So I give it to you in both forms so that you can use it as flexibly as you like. And then also, rarely, about once a month, I will also offer a brief video to help sort of summarize where we've been in the last 4 units and where we're going in the next 4 units. So the whole course is really designed to be a self-study program. I'm trying to give you the tools to work with this material directly, to get as close as we possibly can to the actual teachings of the historical Buddha in a way that's accessible to us, that we can explore our own experience, and that we can practice in our own meditation. I very much encourage you to take it with a partner or in small groups. It's well suited for kind of study groups. And there's value in being able to talk things over with another person on a day-to-day basis and so forth. So I hope you wind up joining me and others in this process of exploration. Again, the new and improved version of this gives you complete control of what units you listen to or read when, in what order, and so forth. It's all available to you as a gift. And I hope that you will participate in really engaging with this material in a serious way. I think what the Buddha has to say about things is of immense value in the modern world, both to us personally, because he's really pointing out universal qualities of the human psyche, and I think it's valuable to us collectively, because these teachings really hold the key for understanding how turmoil and strife is constructed in the world and how it can be healed. Thanks very much. I hope to see you later in the program.